And this really angered a lot of colonists because we felt like we had helped fight in this war and that we had every right to be able to expand. And so there started to be a lot of protests. But then in addition to this, not only were we forbidden to go into the land that we had helped fight for, but we were also taxed to pay for the soldiers who helped to fight. And there was a lot of protesting that started happening. There was different taxes. There was the Stamp Act and the Tea Act and the Sugar Act. And this all started in 1763 and continued on. Now, most of the problems were actually focused up in Boston, which is not where my family is from. My family is from Virginia. But up in Boston, they are quite a bunch of hotheads up there, and were really agitating. And one of the major reasons that Boston was so agitated by all these taxes is that they were a trade city. They were a port colony that all of their business was coming through their merchants. And so the taxes were very heavy on them. Well, there was certain events that happened. We had, of course, the Boston Massacre, then the Boston Tea Party, and at this point, Great Britain stepped in and basically made what we called the Intolerable Acts. That was not their actual name. They were called the Coercive Acts, but we called them the Intolerable Acts because they were intolerable. And this one piece, this Intolerable Acts, was actually what rallied the rest of the colonies to the cause, which up to this point had basically just been Boston's cause. And so the rest of the colonies realized what Great Britain can do and started sending support to the colonists in Boston. Their port had been closed, they were having to quarter soldiers, all of this was occurring. And so there started to be speakers that were coming in all the different colonies to start advocating, to start separating from England. And my father was one of them. He was a member of the House of Burgesses down in Williamsburg in Virginia and started having a lot of speeches advocating for actual war against Britain. Of course, this was not very popular at the time. And so eventually we had a lot of agitation continuing up in Boston, and we had the battles of Lexington and Concord that started occurring as well. Well, this speech that my father gave was from March 23rd of 1773. And so this was after the battles of Lexington and Concord had already broken out up north. So in reality, the war had started, and yet people throughout the colonies still did not believe that we needed to separate from England. And so this speech was my father's move to really try to advocate the House of Burgesses in Virginia to call for ratification of independence from Great Britain. And in fact, this speech had a lot of weight because in 1776, when we actually did declare independence, it was Virginia who was the first one to declare for it, and it was our representative who proposed independence and helped cause this to happen. So I really like to think that my father's speech here really did move Virginia to have this pivotal point in our history. So, with no more ado, let me give you the speech that my father is most famous for. No man thinks more highly than I do of the patriotism as well as abilities of the very worthy gentlemen who have just addressed the House. And so let me not be unpatriotic if, speaking forth as I do, my sentiments are unreserved. The question before the House is one of awful moment for this country. For myself, I consider it nothing less than a question of freedom or slavery, and therefore I hope it not be thought disrespectful if, entertaining opinions as I do, I speak forth my sentiments freely and without reserve. Mr. President, it is natural for men to indulge in the illusion of hope. We are apt to shut our eyes against a painful truth and to listen to the song of the siren until she transforms us into beasts. But let us not deceive ourselves. No, I say that this peace we must act for. I have but one lamp by which my feet are guided, and that is the lamp of experience. I know of no means of judging the future, but by the past, and judging by the past, I wish to know what there has been in the conduct of the British ministry for the past 10 years to justify those hopes by which these gentlemen seek to solace themselves and the House. Is it that insidious smile by which our petitions have lately been received? Trust it not, sir. It will prove a snare to your feet. Suffer not yourselves to be betrayed by a kiss. Ask yourselves whether the gracious reception of our latest petition comports with the warlike preparations that darken our waters and cover our lands. Are fleets and armies necessary to the work of love and reconciliation? Have we proven ourselves so unwilling to be loved that force must be called in to win back our loved? Let us not deceive ourselves, sir. These are the implements of war and subjugation, the last argument to which kings resort. I ask you, gentlemen, what means this martial array, if it not be to bring us back into submission? Can gentlemen assign any other possible motive? Has Great Britain any enemy in this quarter of the world that would call for the buildup of its armies and navies? No, sir, she has none. They are meant for us, they can be meant for no other. And what if we too contend? Shall we try argument? Sirs, we have been trying that for the last 10 years. And have we anything new to offer upon the subject? Nothing. I beseech you, sirs, let us not deceive ourselves. Sir, we have done everything to avoid the storm which is now coming on. We have petitioned, we have remonstrated, we have supplicated, we have prostrated ourselves at the foot of the throne and implored its interposition to arrest the tyrannical hands of the British ministry and Parliament. Our petitions have been slighted. Our remonstrances have produced additional insult and injury. Our supplications have been disregarded. And we have been spurned with contempt from the foot of the throne. In vain, sir, after these things, do we dare indulge the fond hope of peace and reconciliation. No, there is no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, if we mean to preserve inviolate those inestimable privileges for which we have so long been contending, and which we have pledged ourselves never to abandon until that glorious object of our contest shall be obtained, we must fight. I repeat, sirs, we must fight. An appeal to arms to the God of hosts is all that is left us. They say that we are too weak to face so formidable an adversary. But I ask you, sir, when will we be stronger? Will it be next week? Next year? Will it be when we are completely disarmed and we have a British Guard stationed at every house? Shall we gather strength through irresolution and inaction? No. This battle is not for the strong alone, but it is for the vigilant, the active, and the brave. There is no retreat but in submission and slavery. Our chains have already been forged. Their clanging may be heard on the plains of Boston. War is inevitable, and let it come. I repeat, sirs, let it come. It is in vain, sir, to extenuate the matter. Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next gale that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we here, idle? What is it the gentlemen wish? What is it that they would have? His life so dear and peace so sweet to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God! I know not what path others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death.